Hi guys, hope you're all doing well. Here's another episode of the Record Drums Online podcast. In this episode, I had the chance to interview Tim Bazell, who is an amazing producer, sound engineer, he's a drummer as well, he's a composer, he writes music, an awesome person that I met a few years ago, and I just wanted to know a bit more on how we record drums. And this one was in person, so it's a bit different from the standard ones that I've been doing so far. He invited me to his studio. It's a brand new studio, doesn't have a name yet. He's gonna promote it, I guess, very soon. But we talk about everything that in regards of drum recordings, how to process drums, how he likes to process drums, a few recording techniques that he used over the years. And it was just a very fun chat. It's a very long episode. We had a few interruptions during the interview, so some parts I had to cut them out. And you should definitely check it out. And if you guys enjoy it, please make sure that to subscribe, to like, to tell your friends, and So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Have a good one. See you. Bye. Hi guys, I'm here with Tim Bazell, who's an amazing producer and sound engineer, mixing engineer. And today I'm gonna ask him everything he knows about recording drums and recording in general.
42. The answer is 42.
42, yeah. everything. To start with, I normally start always with the question: How did you get into music, and how did you evolve and be, the great producer you are today?
It's always hard to know how you get into music, isn't it? It's very much like a childhood thing for me, and it's that very kind of cliched thing of. Like, I have really early memories of like listening to my dad's Beatles records,
right,
and just being amazed by them. I mean, obviously, music is everywhere, and you're constantly hearing. I mean, particularly now, everyone's constantly hearing music all the time. But there was something about certain records that even like as a little kid, like they kind of just speak out to you, and you know there's something like really special going on in them. And interestingly enough, when I became a parent, I saw exactly that same thing with my own daughter when she was like, maybe 3 years old. Right. Often with the same records. I remember distinctly playing her the Beatles for the first time, and she had this look on her face of like, what is this? This is nuts. And it's weird because that music's so ubiquitous now that I think it's really easy for us to be complacent about like how magical it is and how lucky we are to have that.
No, for sure.
And that I guess was kind of how it started. And then I was like the typical cliched kid who would like hit pots and pans and all of that kind of stuff. And
how old were you when you started?
Oh, like less than 10. So I started playing when I was 10.
Okay.
But when I was younger than that, I was that kind of tippy-tappy, typical annoying sort of drummer kid. And, there was if I saw anyone playing drums on TV, even like Animal from the Muppets was like really exciting. By far the coolest Muppet. It's indisputable. And there was a drum shop in Kentish Town that we would drive by on the way to my nan's house, which we did pretty regularly, and I'd always be sort of glued to the window. And look at all that! That's really cool. Like, when do I get to go on that?
Your drum kit.
And then the opportunity to learn an instrument came up when I was about I must have been about 10. Like, there was one of the schools sort of relatively near to us had like Saturday morning music workshop things.
Right.
And they offered like, clarinet, nylon string guitar, violin, They were like, which one of these would you like to play? I was like, you've got a drum kit right there. Like, can I? And yeah, this sort of very nice middle-class woman looked slightly horrified. And yeah, actually, she continued to be horrified after they let me do it. But there was a kid there who was older who could play a bit. He was like, I guess he would have been a teenager. He seemed like an actual grown-up. And yeah, he taught me some stuff just because he was like hanging around, and I was like really, really enthusiastic. And then I kind of went from there.
Okay.
And then when I went to secondary school, they offered music lessons, so I did like a sort of, after school drum class once a week. And then I don't really know how this happened, but like when I was like 12, 13, someone had said, oh, you should try this. You should try this thing. You should go, there's this place you can like, learn a piece and go and do like an audition. I was like, okay. So I learned this, like I couldn't really read, but like they put some dots in front of me and my teacher took me through it, and I kind of learned a snare drum piece that, I don't know, it's probably like grade 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I went to this place and did this little audition thing, and they were like, okay, cool. Yeah, you can come here. And so I accidentally got a scholarship to go to Junior Guildhall.
Wow.
And they didn't do kit at the time. So I ended up doing percussion, and I did that there for 5 years.
Right.
And that was
Classical
kind
percussion,
of classical percussion.
Okay.
I
So
played
like
in orchestras,
timpani. Wow.
marimba, xylophone. Yeah, I did all combined percussion and sort of got my grade 8 in that. But the big experience was playing in those. I mean, playing in the middle of an orchestra
It was
is just an incredible thing to do. And as a percussionist, you're kind of right in the middle of it. And also there's lots of gaps, you get to experience a lot of it as a listener,
Yeah. Trying to hit those notes like after like a whole page of rest.
Well, that's the horror of it, isn't it? That's where it's, percussionists are always a little bit looked down on, particularly by the guys who are doing all the kind of busy work.
Right. Yeah.
But, some of those guys who are doing that busy work are leaving out the hard bits because there's 10 other guys filling in for them.
Sure.
And there's no one filling in for us. So I did that. But there was no this was like the least planned. I had no idea what I was doing. Okay. Absolutely no idea.
But you could read. I mean, by then, like you did like.
Yeah, I mean, my reading was always a bit crap.
Everyone's reading. I'm sure.
I mean, it's bad now, man. I mean, like because obviously, since I left there, I've been working in like more kind of, contemporary like pop, rock, music where there's not really dots involved. I do the occasional string arrangement. Where I'm kind of, probably sending it to them in advance to double check that, this is acceptable in the way it's written out. But yeah, I do think there's a fair bit of value in certainly drummers understanding reading from a kind of layout point of view. And one thing that it really helped me with when I was a kit player later in life, after I'd kind of, graduated and kind of fallen into the world. I'm not someone who's naturally blessed with like a great immediate memory. My memory, I memorize weird things.
Okay.
I remember really clearly absolutely annoying, pointless, useless, stupid things that no one needs to know. But yeah, like what someone said to me 5 minutes ago, or what I was supposed to get from the shop, forget about it. And what I found was when I was learning songs to learn if I was playing for somebody in like a band setting, the best way to learn the whole structure of a song was if I just listened to it and actually just write the kit part out. And if for some reason, if I did that, it stuck. Whereas I could listen to the song 5 times and be like, no, I don't know. But if I wrote it down while I was listening to it, it would really stick.
I'm the same. I need to write it down. Otherwise,
I've worked with a couple of like remarkable people, like Pete from the Vaccines. That guy can listen to a piece of music and just go, okay, cool, got it. Walk in the live room and just play it straight down, top to bottom. And it's like, okay, cool. I saw him do that on I think 12 songs in a day.
Wow.
And like, I am not blessed with that kind of musical memory at all. So writing stuff down I found was really great from a sort of memory point of view. Somehow you're kind of just marking it in your mind. So I was at Guildhall and I was doing all this stuff, and it was great because it was like this kind of open door into like a much wider, broader musical world where you know there's so many colors and textures and times available in that world and dynamics available in that world than you would hear like on the radio generally, you know. But I was always still like primarily in love with records.
Nice.
And there's a fairly unbridgeable divide between those two things. Because records are like I always think records are things that are crafted more like novels. I mean, okay, you can do like the Black Crowes record where you walk into a room and you put up some mics and everyone plays, and the record's 40 minutes long because they were in the studio for 40 minutes or whatever. And that's great. There's, something very valuable about that. But that's not really the kind of record I was ever interested in making. I've always been more interested in records that felt more like individual works of art.
Right.
Like a piece of cinema, I don't know, like say if you take say you take Disintegration by The Cure, right? I mean, it doesn't sound like any other Cure record. It certainly doesn't sound like any other record from anyone else. And you can almost kind of break it down to being how many tracks are on that? 12? Like 12 different expressions of basically the same idea. And they explore all that idea once on that record, and they explore it as far as you can go with it. They take it to its most kind of realized final end,
Sure.
And that gives that particular album a life and a character that actually stands outside of the band. That's not just an album by that band. It's a kind of unique work of art on its own. And that to me is what's fascinating about studios and about recording, where like it's not a live performance. There are live performances involved, and if those are key to the expression of it, but you're making something else.
Sure.
It's more like a piece of cinema than a play.
I see. Yeah. As that was your like kind of, like sort of your motivation to move from drums to recording, or
it happened very slowly.
Okay.
So the first time I was ever in a studio, I was like 16, and I was playing in a band, and it was just this kind of eye-opening moment of like, I mean, I'd seen pictures of studios and they always look pretty cool. But being in one was like instantly like, okay, why would you ever not want to be here?
Exactly.
This is great. And I mean, actually, like, looking back, that studio was a dump, but who cares? Like, it was wonderful, and there were all these like magical processes going on that I didn't understand. The guy recording me could take my performance and shape it into something, and he wasn't subtracting from it. And I think there were a lot of like, I think particularly 80s recordings where there is a lot of subtracting from the performance.
Yeah, of course.
I think there are a lot of processes that can happen in studios that can really subtract from people's performances. There you go. And I really believe in not doing that.
Okay. Yeah. You just want to leave it as it is.
Like, I don't necessarily want to leave it as it is.
Yeah.
But I don't like using musicians as like some audio input. Like almost, you take a person and then everything they play is basically like an individual sample that just gets dropped up. I mean, what's the point? Samplers are available.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, play it yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, not all modern music is technically very complicated in the layout of like the notes and everything. Like, what makes it individual is the feel.
Yeah.
So if you don't like someone's feel, maybe don't record them.
Call someone else. Just
Someone else can record them who might actually enjoy
yeah.
the sound that they make. But yeah, like that experience of like playing in the live room and then going into the control room and hearing that it was this different thing.
Did it kind of clicked? Like as soon as you went in, you were like, oh wait.
Yeah, I just didn't want to go home. Basically.
Oh wow, okay,
No,
okay.
kind of.
That's when you know. It's like yeah. It was like the same experience you had in front of the drum shop. That it just
Yeah, and I never really knew what a producer did, and I never really knew what the difference between a producer or an engineer. Like they didn't. There's so much information in the world now.
Yeah.
There was nothing
yeah.
back then. It's like no one really knew like how this kind of mystical stuff happened.
Yeah. Exactly. So how did you go? And because I think as you said, like today I go on YouTube and people go on YouTube and they learn stuff. How did you approach the learning of becoming a producer and sound engineering and
in probably a backwards way from how most people do it. So I didn't have that experience of being in a studio and immediately think I want to be a producer. I was just like, this is cool, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I never even considered the idea. I just like being there. And yeah, I carried on playing in bands. When I left Guildhall, I very nearly went and did all my sort of senior auditions, and then I just kind of thought, actually, this is great, and I'm sure I would be really happy being this kind of musician, but it's just I knew it wasn't for me. There was like I wanted to do stuff that was like contemporary. I was really into bands. I was really into records, and it doesn't fit into that world.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy being able to appreciate that world, going to concerts and listening and just while I'm busy getting on with the weird crap that I do.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I was playing in bands and I was like writing with people and doing all of that kind of thing, getting involved with like artists who would like run regular nights at sort of clubs and like just playing all the little gigs and and trying to and playing around with computers and samplers and doing like getting involved in sort of like how weird can you make a sound, just playing with stuff. And also I had a couple of friends who'd got like, it's when drum and bass really kind of hit, and I knew a few people who weren't trained musicians, but they'd done some cool stuff and they got deals with drum and bass labels.
Yeah.
And they started asking me to program drums for them because, being a drummer, I could tap things out on the keyboard really quickly and I could, they kind of chop all these break beats up and stuff. And, like really cliched stuff, just sitting around at someone's flipping, basement at like 3 a.m. with like a load of cans of Stella and some weed, like tapping away stupid break. And it was quite a sort of fun little introduction to you can just put all this stuff together and you can speed things up and slow them down and you can start. I mean, what's really fascinating, I think, about this is a little bit of a tangent, but I remember at that time one of the sort of talking points that was around that kind of music was that it was sampling all of this stuff and chopping it up and putting all the kind of beats into these different orders was really interesting because it's like drum feel based stuff because it's all coming from like samples of old soul records and old funk records and that kind of thing, but it was all like but in a way that drummers can't actually play, so it's like new and exciting. And I'm not so fascinated by that, but what I am fascinated by is how quickly after that happens it's perfectly normal for every drummer to be able to play that stuff.
Yeah.
And like that evolution of playing, I think, is absolutely fascinating.
It is.
So you start off with this thing of people going like, look what computers give us. No human could do this.
It's not.
Before you know it, every 14-year-old who has a drum kit can smash this stuff out at like 200 BPM. No problem at all. And that I think is really exciting. That's really cool. And I'm far more interested in... I don't really have any intrinsic interest in technology, but I think how humans respond to the inputs that they're given doesn't matter that they're necessarily coming from a computer. That's not interesting. It's how we respond to our environment that is really, really fascinating. It's, you know, like there was a time where people would stare at Hendrix on a stage and just be absolutely gobsmacked and baffled by what this man... I mean, don't get me wrong, Hendrix is still incredible. I love listening to that stuff. It blows the feel of it, the vibe of it, the intention of it blows my mind. But no one is looking at Hendrix now going, how do you do that? Because everyone knows how to do that now, because they've been like building and building and building on it for years and years. And I think this isn't just something that is, you know, exclusive to music, but I think music is a fantastic expression of that ability that we have to build on what the previous generations have given us.
To get surprised by the new...
and other animals don't get to do this. Like if you're a cat, you don't get to draw on like the previous couple of thousand years of cat history. Like every cat has the problem of having to start from day one. They have some human input that is quite helpful. Well, at least mine does. But
nice.
Like we get to do that. Like I think, you know, if you were to go back to like the 18th century and take like the greatest pianists, these like huge virtuosos, and put them in front of like a conservatoire senior school audition now, I don't know that half of those guys would get through the audition. Because that's how we move on.
Sure,
with things. And I
it's
think that's amazing.
It is. It's like all this new. I mean, especially now with the AI, and I mean, who knows what's going to happen next? Let's see what the next chapter is. But,
that worries me.
Yeah, right.
Because that's the first time I've really looked at technology and thought, this is there to sort of dehumanize us and take away our cognitive work. You know, it's one thing to have a labor-saving device. A labor-saving device is there to free up cognitive space. So being able to do things faster, being able to record digitally so that you're not spending an hour on every session rewinding a piece of tape, frees up time for creativity. Now, there are lots of people who would argue that in that time that you're rewinding the tape, maybe you have a breather and a think. Maybe you have a conversation, and that's really valuable. And I don't disagree with that at all. But there's nothing inherently useful or creative about rewinding tape. But when you start to offload your cognitive work, you're not only offloading your creativity, you're actually offloading your humanity. And I genuinely think that as musicians and as just humans, we should stay as far away from that crap as possible.
No, I'm with you 100%. It's quite scary, like, especially, you know.
And I know there are many people who are super enthusiastic and will say, hey man, it's just a tool, it's going to get used like any other tool. I'll go toe to toe with anyone in a conversation over that. I don't think it's a tool. I think the political and the social implications are terrifying, and I think it is a further way for people with power, people with money, to capture the area of human life that is ours. Because those people may be in control of a lot of things, but they don't make things, they don't create things, they don't have the input into culture that we have. That's what happens with regular people on the ground interacting. The big sludgy mess of human stuff is where all the good things come from, whether it's the blues or jazz or rock and roll, all these things that we've built on that goes right through to like, I mean, look, I'm sitting here in the middle of Tottenham and there's kids all over this place sitting in their rooms doing something weird. You know? And all of that stuff kind of feeds into this kind of collective, squishy, messy human culture that we have. And it's very easy, you know, when you have like a media-based culture to pick certain people out and go like, oh, well, this is where this started and this is the important thing. And it's like, but actually it's just a big mess. And we're all constantly communicating in these weird, very hard to describe ways with each other all the time. And that's where all of the good stuff comes from. And when you start to offload that to machines, it only makes us more detached from each other. It makes us feel more isolated as people. It takes away our creativity. It takes away our basic humanness. And I think the kind of people who promote AI kind of have a vested interest in that. I don't want anything to do with it.
No, for sure. 100%. It's quite a scary topic for us that we like to, you know, to record music, like musicians, not. But
I do think that I think we'll survive that because I mean, I remember when I was a kid and I was learning to play drums and it was the kind of era of drum machines in the 80s. And I was constantly being told by like, you know, my mum's friends and various adults that like, oh, we're not going to be any drummers anymore. It's all machines now. And it's like, well, here we are many, many years later. And what's the one thing everyone in a studio needs the most? A great drummer. It's the most irreplaceable thing. It's the single best bit of record making kit. It's a great drummer.
For sure. Yeah. That's great. Is it still?
I'm just gonna double check.
Still going. Nice. Okay, And so basically, just to go back to your story, like you were, so you, for the years, I guess you kind of went parallel with drumming and producing at the same time.
Right. Okay. So I didn't. So this is the thing. You asked me a very specific question, and I've gone on about 4 tangents. No. But okay. So I was more and more fascinated by production, and I was in that kind of production adjacent world where I was learning not so much. I didn't really know how to record. I knew nothing about microphones. I mean, I knew basic types. I knew what a condenser mic was, and I knew what polar patterns were. But that doesn't tell you anything about how to use them, why to use them. It certainly doesn't tell you anything about how any of them sound, or about room acoustics, or about how different instruments interact in a room. Any of that stuff. I didn't know any of it. I was always fascinated by producers. I was particularly fascinated by people like George Martin, Quincy Jones, and then later on, Flood was a huge influence on me because there were all these records that I loved, and every time I look at the back cover, it's like, oh, it's this guy again, and they all sound radically different from each other. You know, there's no person there with their sound imposing their sound on something. There's clearly something else going on. There's some wider creative thing that is happening in the room that isn't about a person stamping their sound on something. It's about making something unique, and that's really interesting to me. And obviously, Brian Eno comes into that a lot. That way of thinking about music, that way of looking at music, almost more like it's a painting. You know? It's, you know, something that's kind of thoughtfully, and also that, you know, balance between control and chaos. But I didn't really have ambitions to do that, and I didn't really think of myself as that. Like, you know, we change a lot as we grow older, and I think being a producer, it's a proper producer is like a sort of grown-up job, you know. And I wasn't a grown-up. No. And then sort of over time, like one day I kind of was, and
When was?
Like,
Do you remember that day when you actually produced the record? Like,
yeah, I mean, it happened very quickly. Somebody who was a manager of a band, I was in a venue like up by the Holloway Road, and someone basically asked me if I was a producer.
Right.
And I just lied and said, yeah.
Of course, man.
And they said, cool, do you want to do an EP with these guys? And they were a cool little band. God, I wish I could remember what they were called. They were like a sort of 60s three-piece, but the drummer had a real feel. Played like a Heyman kit, you know, those kits, those Vibrasonics that just resonate like crazy. And he knew how to use it. And they just had that. They were like a 60s garage band.
Nice.
So, you know, not the most original music in the world, but music when it's done right, you just get into the groove of it, you know?
Nice.
And I guess this was around the time that, you know, that kind of thing was kind of, you know, there were lots of, this is like post the Strokes. So there's like, you know, all of a sudden there's all these kids playing in bands doing this stuff. So yeah, suddenly I had this production gig and I didn't know how to engineer a record at all.
Oh, wow.
But I knew that I didn't know how to engineer a record. So I hired a studio and I hired an engineer.
Nice.
And I found that the talking to musicians about their takes and about their sound and about how they interact and all that kind of thing, that kind of came quite easily. I realized I could already speak that language.
Nice. Yeah.
And the other side of it, I didn't know really at all. And I just, you know, that was my first few production jobs. I just kind of get engineers and I just watch them like a hawk and be
See
like,
what
are you doing? Why are you doing? Oh, okay, room mics. Room mics. Okay.
Yeah, of course. Room mics.
Those black ones with the big VU meters on them, they do like a cool. Oh, right. Yeah, no, they do a really cool thing. What's that? You know.
Nice.
And then I kind of really geeked out on it and learned engineering, then really learned engineering. And
just by doing it, by
partly by doing it, but also like, you know, by this time there's stuff online.
Yeah.
So I'd read stuff, and then also one of the studios that I'd been recording bands in, but that had one of these great engineers in it. He had just kind of got to a point where he was done with the business and wanted to go on the road, and so was doing sort of live stuff on the road. And he was sharing with these two other guys who were two German guys, both called Robert, who were both really interesting engineers and producers. And I took his place in that studio.
Okay, right.
And then we kind of, you know, the three of us did quite a lot of stuff together. And they were a bit, you know, one of them in particular was a little bit older than me, had lots more experience, and I kind of learned a lot by working with those guys. And then got to a point where I kind of started to develop my own ideas and my own sort of
sound.
Yeah. So I don't think I have a sound, but I think I have like feelings about things and opinions about what I like.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a producer's business to have a sound, frankly.
Yeah.
And when producers have a sound, I'm always a tiny bit suspicious of that.
Yeah. I see. Yeah.
I think it's our business to be very aware of what the intention of the artist is, what the artist feels, and to go on a journey with them where we're understanding of that and where we hopefully try and open that journey up and expand it more and give them what they need.
Yeah.
The idea of a producer having a sound doesn't actually make any sense to me at all, and I think it's kind of in conflict with the responsibility part of our jobs. You know what I mean? Like, someone's coming to you to entrust you with the making of their thing. Being the person that immediately jumps on that and goes, "It's my thing too." It's like, hang on a minute.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. It's like stay in your lane. Just
or just not even stay in your lane, because I think I don't think the jobs are as very clearly defined. When you're in it should be just this very open workflow. Like, It's not Abbey Road in 1962 where you go,
Yeah.
oh no, you're not allowed to touch that
Yeah,
microphone.
don't do
Like,
that.
no, I mean, it should just be a relationship of people finding their way through
Yeah.
something together. And the difference is if you're the producer, you have some responsibility.
Yeah.
You mainly have the responsibility to make sure it doesn't screw up.
Yeah, right.
And just always have that ability to sort of stand back, keep an eye on things, and make sure things aren't going off track.
Yeah.
Make sure that what comes out the other end isn't going to have some issues with it, some problems with it, things that need to be fixed. That's your job. Keep an eye on that, because the artist shouldn't have to have their eye on that. They should be being an artist.
Yeah.
And our job is to help them do that.
Yeah. Just enhance their skills. What I wanted to ask you is like, so I guess after you've been producing for a while and you learn, I guess, how to record, the recording drums part of it, when did you get excited about it?
I was always excited about it.
Really?
That was always, even from that very first session.
Okay.
I kind of realized, like, oh man, you can do a lot with, you really can do a lot with drums. It's not a double bass. A double bass is what it is. You can capture it well, you can capture it badly. A lot of the time when I hear double bass, it's captured badly.
Yeah.
But, the only way to get a good double bass sound is to have a really good double bassist and a really good double bass.
Yeah.
And then on the engineer side of it, your job is to not screw that up. But drums aren't like that. Drums are a toy shop when it comes to recording. You can go fucking crazy with them. You can do all sorts of stupid stuff.
Right.
And that can come, drums take distortion so well.
Yeah.
And distortion can come from all sorts of places. Distortion can come from a room. If you mess with the room enough, distortion can come from things you put on the drums. It can come from things you put in front of the drums. It can come, if you set them up badly enough, from the way the heads sit on the drums, And it's playing with that physical aspect of them in the room.
Yeah.
I definitely really, really strongly believe that the obsession over what mics you use on a kit, and I say this as someone who obsesses over what mics you use on a kit, is an absolute irrelevance compared to the fundamental things of the kit, the heads, how the kit is set up, the tuning, not just to make the kit sound good, but the tuning in relation to the song. Obviously the player is like so key. Even two really good drummers will sit down behind the same kit and it will sound completely different. And there's always this sort of weird question of, well, like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Are you trying to capture something, or are you trying to create something?
Okay.
Like, if you're trying to capture something, then we have all these kind of physical considerations of where the left and the right is and what the tonal balance is, and how long the response is and all that. Well, you always have that consideration. But so if you're trying to create something, it can be utterly fucking stupid. You just put one smashed up omnidynamic in the middle of the kit and batter it through a distressor. And it doesn't sound anything like the kit sounds in the room, but it's really cool.
It's really cool. Yeah. No, that's cool. And in terms of like when you're recording now drums in your studio, what are the things that when you start recording, what do you do? Like, do you start with overheads, or start with
very often start with overheads. If I'm trying to get a complete sound, I really don't like the idea of overheads as these cymbal mics or as these things that capture like the sparkly top end of the kit. I think maybe this comes from being a former player where, I know how the drum kit sounds when you have that perspective, the sound coming off the top of the kit.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to hear.
Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes I want that in mono. Sometimes I want that in stereo. And I think the stereo picture of the overheads is absolutely crucial. And I think this is partly why I start with them first, because I want to be able to hear that on its own. And excuse me. I think very often when you see your overheads positioned above a kit, they're positioned by sight and not by any kind of thinking. Okay. It's like people look at the front of a drum kit, the front of a bass drum head, where the cymbals are, and say, well, that's the left and that's the right. Yeah. Up you go. And I get when you're live on stage, you're looking at that. But that live engineer is really trying to get more of a cymbal high-end kind of thing, because it's a totally different deal when you're chucking a kit out into a big arena. You know, the response of those spaces is completely different to the response of a normal room or a recording room. But actually, if you think about the way a kit is, there is a center, and it's not that. There's this invisible line that goes through your snare drum, through your bass drum, and if you look at that line, on the left-hand side, you've got a hi-hat and one tom and a crash cymbal, and on the right-hand side, you've got a floor tom and maybe a ride and maybe another crash cymbal. And if you take that as your middle, and it looks a bit silly, it looks a bit weird. If you get that right, you put up two overheads. Man, there's the sound of a drum kit right there. And it's, you know, maybe you might want to put a little bass drum mic in to reinforce it. But, I mean, if you do that with a pair of Coles or a pair of, like, I use these Extinct Audio BM9s, which I absolutely love. The low end goes down so far on those things. Like, that's a whole kit sound on its own. Yeah.
Don't need any bass drum mic.
No. And then,
okay,
everything else can be like,
it's
almost a bonus. Everything else is sprinkles.
Yeah.
Then you can start thinking about, well, what do I want from the snare mic? Do I want it really attacky? Do I want it really long? Do I want it really deep?
Yeah.
Sometimes both bright and attacky, and sometimes really long. If it's that, I might record the snare with two mics. So I quite like using something like a Bayer M201 to get that like very clean attack. And I don't want to mess with that too much. I don't like taking the transients away from those things. That feels like you're really stealing something from the drummer when you start to sort of compress and squash those things. So I might put something up next to that, like maybe a KM84. Or very often I've got a SM57 that I managed to get the transformer out of. That gives it a sort of, it has less output, but it gives it more low end. Takes away some of that kind of nasty mid stuff.
I see. Okay.
It's a bit of a, if anyone at home wants to do this, it involves taking an SM57 apart and taking the body of it and sticking it in a pan of boiling water.
Wow.
For about half an hour.
Is that okay?
And my wife did come in and find me boiling a microphone and just kind of looked at me and shook her head and walked straight back out the room again.
Yes.
But it is pretty cool.
And then what? It works after that?
You wire it back. You wire the connector back on, and it works. It has a bit less output and a bit more body to it.
Wow,
it's pretty cool,
man. I'm gonna buy one now and just do it.
Try and make sure you wire it the right way around. But, if you don't, you can always flip the phase.
Nice. Okay. Do you for kick drum? What do you normally use? Do you put like a one in, one out?
That's difficult.
I see here a lot of mics.
Normally, I don't really have a normally. I have things I really like. So in there at the moment is a FET 47, which you typically see outside of a drum, and they're great outside of a drum. But man, a FET 47 inside a bass drum with I've got it going into a 1073 here with a load of bottom and a load of top on it.
Ooh.
And so that little bit of saturation that it gives it, and that little bit of there's something about the way the top end opens up on those things that it's really present, but it has a softness to it. I don't like really clicky bass drums that feel like they're kind of attacking your ears and like that kind of spanky thing.
Okay,
like it's not really how I hear them in the room. It's not really how I've ever tuned a kit that I've ever liked.
Right.
And, you know, I get definition is important.
Yeah.
But there are other ways. I think you can get definition across a sort of broader frequency band
Yeah.
than that. But yeah, that's just, I mean, it kind of depends how much space there is in a song.
Okay.
If there was like an enormous wall of guitars,
Yeah.
maybe something a little bit less fluffy on the inside.
Yeah.
I really like a Bayer M88.
Oh, okay.
But the old ones.
Yeah.
The NC, the new TG ones, they changed them. And
All right.
they don't
okay.
have the same low end. They can be cool on electric bass because rocky electric bass, they're much more middly.
Yeah.
So if you want sort of a nasty, angry electric bass sound, they're pretty cool for that.
Okay.
They're probably good on snare actually. But yeah, the new ones don't go low enough for bass drum. But if you get the ones with the silver grill,
Yeah.
man,
They're
really
great.
cool.
Yeah. Nice.
I quite like a boundary mic sometimes.
Okay.
The Shure, I can never remember what it's called. What's it called? The Beta. Is it 19A?
B52.
91A, Beta 91A.
91A. Okay.
The Behringer ripoff is quite good if people want to buy a cheap one.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I've gone around the houses and I'm always going. I mean, it's so bass drum. Like, what's a bass drum?
No, because exactly.
What
like,
is a bass drum?
I think it's quite, with snare you kind of have, depending on the snare, depending on how you mic it, and how many mics and what microphones you use. But the bass drum I always find is quite a fascinating one, just because. For example, here we have 3 microphones. I mean, this is not a kick mic.
That big General Electric thing.
How do you, for example, mix those two? Like, depending on what you like best. Like, what's
Yeah, you just find what works. Sometimes maybe you don't need all of those.
Okay,
so the song that I tracked yesterday. So that big General Electric ribbon thing that's in front of the kit, that is not a bass drum mic.
Okay, no. Yeah,
that's an entire kit mic, and that thing is compressing probably about 20 dB on an extreme release.
Wow.
And so that mic is just
right, I see.
And it's down low like that because it's kind of it's a little bit out of the way of the cymbals.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm using quite dark cymbals here, which means I can get away with a little bit more.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, that's like a whole kit thing.
Cool.
So
just 2 microphones.
At the moment, I've got the FET inside, and I'm actually putting the Bayer M88 outside, which I don't do very often. That normally goes where that mic I think really excels is just inside the hole, where it can take quite a lot of level, and it really just kind of captures that deep part of the sound. If I wanted it clickier and more attacky, I might put a Beta 91 or something like that inside, or maybe even if you want it really aggressive, just stick a flipping 57 in there and put it up against the Beta, and that will give you all the smack that you want. And it's, I think it's better doing that kind of thing than trying to play with EQ to try and get things that aren't in one microphone out of it, because you're changing the phase edge of the sound, you're messing with a lot of stuff. But of course, we have to be quite careful with polarity.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I know you can correct things.
Yeah.
Sliding things around with time and stuff, but that's a dangerous game to play because you can take all the life out of the sound very easily by doing that. Like, part of the thing that gives you this kind of broad, thick capture of a kit is all these timing differences between these things. So I think, you get these products like Auto Align. They need to be used very sparingly by people who really know. If you just automatically go to that and think it's going to make your kit sound better, it's not. And I just move stuff around until it kind of works, basically.
Nice. Yeah.
But most of it comes from the tuning. I find if you spend the time on the tuning first, everything else happens quite quickly. And I really, really hate keeping musicians waiting.
So do you tune before they come in?
If the kit's here, or if not, if it's someone who really knows their sound, and really, they will tune together, or maybe they'll start and but we'll normally have a chat. But
Yeah.
we'll probably just,
Make sure
hang
that-
out a little bit,
See how.
chat, tune some drums together,
Mm-hmm.
make some decisions. If it's me doing it myself, which it often is, then like go hang out with the rest of the band. Have a cup
Nice,
of coffee
yeah.
and,
Have a coffee and I'll sort you out. Yeah.
But that engineer who basically wants the drummer to sit behind a kit for half an hour to play that top dong,
Yeah.
dong, dong. 5 minutes later, they come out and they put a bit of gaffer tape on it and they go back and dong, dong. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, how is anyone supposed to play?
Yeah. By the time they have to record, the drummer is already like
Yeah.
sick of playing drums. And it's like,
And actually, funny. So I've never really thought about this before, but maybe that might come from. That was my experience when I started recording as a player. I would just basically spend half the day sat behind a kit while someone made my kit sound almost entirely not like a drum kit by putting things. I mean, I'm all for putting things all over drums. But to make them sound cool, not because you think the drum is a problem that must be controlled.
For sure.
Like, I think it's really important in engineering to let go the idea of control. If something's a problem, fine. Deal with the problem.
Yeah.
But the idea that you need to have control all the time.
Yeah.
And, I remember I used to have a tracking room, quite a big tracking room, like in central London. And so I'd have often other engineers coming in with bands. And the great ones would just stick up a couple of mics, tune the kit a little bit. You audition the drummer, chuck it through a few things. Maybe you like this, maybe you don't like that. Brilliant, off you go. Let's record some music.
Nice.
And then you'd have other guys who'd come in who might be a little bit less experienced, or they might be like the live engineer of the band, and the band's hired them to make the record. And the setups would be so complicated. And occasionally I'd suggest a couple of things and they'd be, but I just want to do this because then I can control it more later. You're like, well, why do you need to do that?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah.
So you're just giving yourself extra work in the future to try and fix something that could just be better now.
Yeah.
And also you're not trusting the guy sitting behind the kit. Like, if these guys aren't your guys, don't record them.
Yeah.
But if you think the band are good, if you think the drummer is like the guy you want to be recording,
so just let him do his
just
job.
fucking go for it. And if you take that mindset, you can do way more fun things. Like, we shouldn't be scared of doing things wrong. We shouldn't be scared of, like, you know what? I think we shouldn't be trying to adhere to this idea of a standard. Like, engineering is the wrong word for what we do. We don't work in medicine. If we do something dumb, nobody dies.
Yeah.
Oh my God, like, that's unbalanced. Oh, well, imagine. I'm
the world.
sorry, like, go and listen to some records from the 60s.
Yeah.
There's some mental stuff going on. Like, there's squeaky bass drums.
Yeah.
There's one Rolling Stones single. I can't remember which one, but there's one early Stones single. The whole band falls completely apart in the middle of the song. If you listen to it now, you'd be like, how did they put that
Was he
out?
Clean Jones on that record?
I've no idea. But like, the whole timing of the entire performance of the band just completely collapses somewhere halfway through the song.
Right, okay.
And they've clearly gone, but feels pretty cool, right?
Yes, why not?
You'd never put that out now.
No.
Because it's a bit of a problem. We should go back and fix it. And honest, I mean, that one is bad. Like, if that was me, I would actually be kind of going, maybe we should take that again.
No.
But
we're very perfectionist these days, aren't we? Like, just like as soon as we hear like, oh, it's a bit,
Yeah, and what do you get from it? What do you get from perfection? It's not. Where's the satisfaction in having something that is technically perfect? There's no emotion that intrinsically lives inside of that. Music is about soul and about feelings and about the messy stuff.
The messy stuff.
We can't explain it in any other way through music. There's no point in trying to describe what that, like, we talk about technique and we talk about what we love about it and what we're trying to get and all that kind of thing. But music is that language because That's the language we have
Yeah.
for those feelings and that part of ourselves. You got to let it breathe. You got to let it speak. If you're constantly trying to control it and police it, it's like having, one of those terribly sort of earnest, worried people around all the time who's trying to police your language in a conversation. This is kind of something that happens, and you're constantly worried that someone's going to be offended by this, or like you're not addressing someone in the, or like if you go back to like another time in history, it's like when you have all these rules of etiquette where communication becomes so difficult because you're constantly having to like acknowledge people's position in society and all. Well, you can't have a conversation now because you've put all these restrictions rules, around it because you're worried that like the right processes aren't being followed.
For sure.
Screw that, man. Like,
just go for it. And
like
nice.
if anyone who's like stuck in that way of making things, I would highly recommend getting 5 of the crappiest mics they can possibly get their hands on and 5 of the best musicians they can possibly get their hands on, and just stick them up in a room with a laptop and record and see what comes out. Just let go, man. Like, okay, it won't be the most pristine sounding thing you've ever heard, but it's probably going to be a damn sight cooler than that thing you were trying to do with 27. Like the toms are mic'd top and bottom, and you haven't even summed them together because you're scared that, you might want to adjust it afterwards. So you've recorded that. Like every tom is 2 channels, and like, oh man, who like, it just makes me kind of tired thinking about it.
For sure. Yeah. Speaking of like toms, what tom mics do you use? I mean, because
that's a constant
you said like before we started this, you said like tom mics, you're quite particular about it. Let's say
I don't like some of the things that are the kind of go-to things. I particularly had a falling out with 421s quite a long time ago. And it's not that 421s aren't really cool mics. Really like them on loud electric guitars, actually. But if you put a 421 above a tom and you hit that tom and you listen to just that, it can give you a pretty cool capture. There's that clicky high thing that I find offensive, and particularly around like 4 or 5K, I find the aggressiveness of that actually really grating. But the rest of the sound is a pretty cool tom sound. Then sit the drummer down and have them play. And then you've got all this other stuff. You've got all this, and the off-axis sound of that microphone is disgusting. It is just really unpleasant. What it does to cymbals, that nasty mid-range, graty, phasey. And so then you chop them out. And then when the drummer hits the tom, it comes back in.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
And I find it has a very negative effect on the overall sound of the kit. More than it has a negative effect. I don't like the clicky thing, but it has. There are some clicky things I do like, but not that one.
Not that one.
That's like a sort of high mid distortion that upsets my ears. I feel like more than on the sound of the tom, it's what it does to the general sound of the kit. I find a problem. C12As are really nice, but we are not all that rich.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And we're not all in studios every day that have C12As on the toms. 414s I quite like. I'm not putting my nice 414s on any toms. Because, I've got some really lovely old ones that, like the very first ones that they made. With the brass C12 capsules in them. And they sound great, and I use them on loads of things. And, unlike some of the places that do have C12As and those things, I don't have a maintenance team. If I break that mic, it's got to be driven to Denmark, because we've left the EU now and I can't post it to Denmark because their customs are crazy. And the one guy that fixes those properly lives there, and no, that's not going on a tom.
Yeah. Let's
I've
put it
got
as
some.
far away as possible from the drums.
Yeah.
Like just to
I've got
make
some
sure.
more modern 414s that I
Nice.
have basically for that. I quite like a Sennheiser 441, which I've, as you can see, I've got on the rack tom there. They're really cool. Bit more middly, but really cool, really vibey.
Nice.
But yeah, I recently, I just bought a Jay-Z V11, the one you're talking into right now. And I bought that specifically to see how it sounds on a floor tom. And so far I've used it once, and so far it sounds really good.
Yeah.
Man.
You're happy with it? Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
There's a little bit more to find out, but so far, so good. And if this thing continues to perform the way it did on the first recording I did with it yesterday, I'm going to buy a couple more of those.
Ooh, okay.
But yeah, and they're really.
Do you use them mainly for floor toms, or are you just going to go with toms in general?
If that works out, I'll buy like 3 of them.
Okay.
And have a go with using them on toms. And if a drummer has more than 3 toms, then that's their problem. That's the wrong number of toms. 2 is the correct number of toms.
3 is
pushing it.
Yeah.
More than 3, we need to have a conversation.
It's like a bass player.
Unless you are literally Jimmy Chamberlain.
Yeah. Right.
In which case you're allowed.
You're allowed.
You can do what you want. That's completely fine. If you're Jimmy Chamberlain, anything you bring into the studio, I will mic it up any way you want it. Jimmy, if you're listening.
Yeah. Just saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
I quite like small kits.
Yeah.
I like the way that people approach what they play when they're given small kits. I think small kits encourage a very musical way of thinking about the thing that's in front of you.
Yeah.
And again, it's that thing of like too many options are a dreadful thing in music.
Yeah.
Oh God, you've got 16 toms. Well, now you have to use them.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah. And does the song, what is the song? Maybe the song just wants a bass drum on it. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. When it comes to processing, to adding things on the way in, what are your particular choices? Do you have anything? Is there anything that you do constantly? You're like, I know this is gonna work already. Boom! Like no matter what the song is.
I don't have a go-to, but it does. It depends partly where I am. So, like my studio here is the channel on this desk is really beautiful sounding. It's very kind of hi-fi in that kind of cool 70s way. It's open. It's punchy. It's quite API-ish. But if I'm somewhere with like an old 80 series Neve, then one thing that I'm probably adding on the way in is a ton of saturation.
Right.
I'll very often on those kind of records absolutely crank the preamp and then pull the fader right down. Okay. So it's really like doing something quite exciting.
Okay.
On the way in. And yeah, I'll add EQ. I might add some top and bottom. If I have to cut a lot, then I might start thinking about have I got my setup right? Like if I put up a fader and I don't like what I'm hearing, I won't try and solve that problem with processing.
Okay.
If I put up a fader and I don't like what I'm hearing, I've done something wrong and I need to do something different.
Right.
Like I need to hear through the channel clean that the thing that I've got going into a mic makes sense.
Okay.
And that it's going to work.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't have some washy weirdness that I'm kind of, that thing of going, well, I'll deal with it later, is the road to like tying yourself in knots.
Okay.
Later down the line. And it's also, I don't think those problems are necessarily solvable if you want a coherent, big, open, punchy, if you want something to really sound like it's solid.
Yeah.
Suddenly like sucking the bits out of it that you don't like, it can help get rid of those things, but it starts to break up the solidity of the picture a little bit. So maybe just go back and get it a little more dialed in on the tuning.
The source,
room position is really important.
Yeah.
Some rooms have got like a real sort of mid-rangey slapback thing that can be really cool, but sometimes if those things get too washy, that can be an issue. I mean, this room that we're in now, that I've spent all summer building, which has been quite an adventure.
Sure.
We put up mics, for the first time just a few days ago and started really listening. And the biggest, most exciting thing about this is all like, it doesn't have any of that weirdness. I mean, even these like extincts that I've got up here, these ribbon mics that are quite far from the kit, if you sit behind that kit and you play it, you don't hear any of that sort of weird, like, hazy 500 to 1K stuff that you want to be pulling out of it.
Okay.
It sounds really balanced and really cool, and it's like, it's quite pleasing that it was worth spending 3 months being a carpenter and not making records to have a room that I can do that in.
Sure.
Not every studio sounds like that. So if you're in a place where you have that coming through the mic, you need to find some ways around it. Maybe you put up some baffles. Maybe you find a spot in the room that responds. Like, just take a floor tom, walk around the room, hit it.
Just go.
You'll find a point in the room that sings out more. You'll find a point in the room that has generally in corners and things, that has a bigger low end response. Trying to get like free low end is always a great thing. The more low end you can capture in the mic rather than trying to dial that in, the better. So yeah, probably slightly less subtractive stuff, but on those like big old Neves, like the top and the bottom on the EQs on that, they sound great. So like pull text the same. But again, I don't want to waste musicians' time, so I don't want to get into like a whole thing of like, let's patch in a load of pull text on all these channels and go through all of this. And it's like, no, we need to get there. We need to get to performances and get to like the stuff that means we can get a really good version of this that feels good while everyone's still fresh and everyone's still enthusiastic and excited about it. I don't want to be tiring people out. I don't want to be doing like 20 takes of something. Like pre-production is really important with this stuff. I want to go to a studio where we all know
what's happening,
what we're doing, not so that like that's exactly what we're doing, but we all know what we're doing enough so that if we want to screw around with it, we can screw around with it, and we know the foundations are there enough that we have that space to do it without worrying, without sort of being scared of like making changes. I tend not to put too much probably no compression on the direct mics.
Okay.
Because how that functions is so dependent on the drummer's performance. And this is the same with singers, but with singers I'll often go through a fader and then go into compression, and I'll know the song and I'll ride the song into the compressor. So when you get to that big bit where if the compressor's dialed in too much, they do this huge thing and then you've got like this massive gain reduction and you've just destroyed their performance. With a singer I can mitigate that by moving the fader
up and down,
so that I can get out of it. You can't do that with a drummer. Drummer suddenly hits a snare drum really hard, and before you know it, like they've done something really exciting and your engineering has fought against it the other way. And like that's terrible. That's not really what we're here to do.
For sure.
So I'll compress room mics. I'll compress if I have like a front of kit mic, I'll often compress that. If I've got the kind of versed thing, that Moses Schneider thing, where you put what is it that Sylvia Massey calls it? The pussy mic.
The pussy mic.
You can smash the hell out of that.
That's
but it also does respond, I think, better if you leave some attack in there. I think if you totally crush that thing,
it's too much.
It's not like part of the joy of that particular mic is the kind of slappy thing that it gives you. So don't limit it, don't kill it. Like you got the compression in with that mic is about how it bounces. So you got to be very careful how you time that one.
Nice. That's cool. And so you said like overheads, for example, do you put compression into overheads, or is that also
sometimes a little SSL maybe?
SSL, okay.
Again, that would be to give it more definition,
Yeah.
probably more rather than more length.
Yeah.
I quite like a sort of natural sound in
Nice.
the overheads. I want to sometimes hear them breathe a little bit, so you have the release of the compressor coming back. I'm not really using overheads as a kind of crush thing.
What was your approach with tuning when you're tuning drums? What's a is it like
Depends what you want,
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
it? I mean,
Are you like one of those guys that just taps around? Just you've been doing it for so long
I
that
tap around. I normally have a sound in mind. So if it's like a jazz thing or a soul thing, or something that you want sort of sounding more vintage, you're often tuning higher, right?
yeah,
And with those kind of records, it's maybe not too. You maybe shouldn't obsess about the bottom head and the tuning ratios so much, because when you hear those old records, you can hear that when they tune them, they're not thinking much about that stuff. If it's something where you want a deep, there's one particular tom trick that I love, which is that kind of psychoacoustic. It's playing with the harmonic structure that drums. The way drums respond, they don't work in the harmonic series the way that like a string instrument or a brass or a woodwind instrument works. You blow into a tube, or if you bow a string, you have the fundamental, and then above that you have all of these harmonics that are like an octave and a fifth, and then a fourth above that, and a major third, and then a minor third, and blah blah blah, all the way up. And the balance of those things is what gives you the texture of that instrument, essentially, with a load of other kind of partials and all the other stuff that comes from the body. But yeah, basically that's the sound. Drums don't respond like that. You have a note, you have a fundamental note, but then you have all of these kind of overtones that are not harmonically related necessarily in the way that the harmonic series is set up. But our brains are very strange, and we can be fooled into a lot of things. Like if you're listening to the radio and you hear a bass guitar on the radio or a synth bass on the radio, and you're hearing like the fundamental. You're hearing the low frequency, the lowest note of those instruments. Half the time, that's not there. That radio is not playing that frequency.
Okay.
It's just not doing it. There's no way this little tiny speaker is reproducing that. So why are you hearing it? You're hearing it because you're hearing the overtones above that, and the way that those overtones are structured. The ratios between the overtones, and your brain knows that the thing that you're not hearing is the fundamental, but it knows it's there.
Okay.
So you just fill it in. You just hear it.
Okay. Yeah.
So you will hear things that a speaker can't, that a speaker isn't reproducing.
Yeah.
Because it's in that sound in nature must be structured that way.
Yeah.
Well, if you're tuning drums, you can fake this.
Okay.
So if you have a tom-tom, if you want to get a really deep tom sound, the way that a fundamental is tuned on a drum that has two heads is a function of the tuning of both of those heads. So if you make a tuning adjustment to one head, the fundamental note will change, regardless of which head you change. It will always be changing. But then you have the ratio of how those things are tuned together. And if you tune the top head and the bottom head of a tom-tom a perfect fifth apart, you are essentially pretending that one of those heads is playing the first harmonic and one of those heads is playing the second harmonic. And then the listener's brain assumes that there is a fundamental that is not being heard, which is an octave below that.
Okay. Yeah.
And you just hear it.
Yeah.
It just suddenly there's this extra octave that's just there. And you can't not hear it. It's like that kind of the thing with the dress, the blue and black dress and the green
yeah.
The way you see that, you cannot get around it. The reason you see it the way you see it is because of your prior expectations about the light in that photograph, right? I hope people know what we're talking about when we're talking about this thing, but there's a very famous photograph of a dress,
Yeah.
and people argue about whether it's white and gold
Yeah.
and whether it's
It's
blue and
I
black.
guess. Yeah.
In reality, the dress is blue and black.
Mm.
I can't see it like that. I see white and gold.
Yeah.
And the reason that it's confusing is because it's a very badly exposed photograph and it's being lit from two different sources. So you have natural light coming in the window from the top and you have artificial light coming from the bottom. And your brain, when it's working out the color, has to decide whether it's being artificially lit or if it's being lit by sunlight, because the artificial light has, I think, more blue in it. Sunlight has more yellow in it. Something like this.
Right.
And you either add or subtract depending on which one you think it is. I spent my entire life in dark music venues and recording studios. I don't know what sunlight looks like. I assume it's being lit by artificial light. So my brain subtracts the artificial light, and so I see yellow and white. There's nothing. Even though I know that, I still can't see it the other way. Our brains assume a physical structure. There are rules to the way
things
the
work.
universe works.
For sure.
And if you tune your toms like that, there's an extra octave that you're going to hear and you cannot avoid it.
Right.
And it's fantastic.
No.
And it means you can tune a bit higher and still get this really deep tone. So I find one of the big issues in recording is floor toms that are tuned really low. Because you can, and you sometimes find this with bass drums as well. People tune so low that actually the bass part of it isn't being translated through the speakers, and so you actually end up with a very boring flabby plep 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 kind of sound. Whereas if you tune up a little bit, if you tune the right way, you can actually get thicker, richer bass tones, and I think that's kind of really
that's what it is.
That's really important.
Yeah. And so I was listening to some of the records that you produced, and I was like, man, the drum sounds on this. Like, is there any particular records that you're like, man, the drum sound here? I mean, I'm sure there is not just one, but are there a few or some ways of recording drums that you actually, here we did something a bit different?
A bit. I've done a lot of things that are a bit different.
Not just one.
Fairly recently, there's a Sarah Lilith Gold song called "Toxic Queen" that I produced and that I kind of co-wrote with her as well. But we had fun doing the drums on that because the song is structured in a way where the verses, and there's a sort of middle eight bridge bit as well, are extremely quiet. And then the choruses are really, really loud. And I didn't really have like a sort of good idea of like how a performance all the way. I mean, we could have done it in a performance, Johnny Brister, the drummer.
Oh yeah, I know Johnny. Yeah, great drummer.
Really wonderful player and such a lovely guy. Anyone out there who wants to hire Johnny, go and hire Johnny. Johnny's great.
Johnny's amazing.
And one of the reasons Johnny's great is because he's really into trying stupid stuff, and he's got loads of stuff as well that you can play with. And one of the things he has is he's got this steel drum kit. The whole kit is just made of this really, God knows where he got this thing from. It's made of this really heavy steel. And so we got this ridiculous kit and we tuned it super open. Like, you breathe on this thing and it rings.
Wow.
And that record we were doing in Conch Studios in Hornsey, which is one of my favorite rooms to record in. And again, a studio staffed by really, really wonderful people. And we basically recorded 2 versions of the song. And spliced them together. So there was not going to be like a version of the verse sound of this song that when you suddenly start beating the crap out of the kit in the chorus was going to sound anything other than awful. That kit was so responsive and tuned so open that the slightest touch and it just kind of sings out. And I mic'd that relatively normally, partly because we were just in there making like a whole EP anyway, so we had all these mics up. But I had, I think, 3 sets of room mics, like some relatively close, some right at the back of the room, and then I took I can't remember what it was. It would have been some kind of quite sensitive condenser with quite a low self noise, and put that right out the back in the loading bay. So not even in the live room,
Oh, wow.
but like through a door
Yeah.
in the live room, right up against this gigantic metal shutter that kind of rattles. And then, he's playing them with, those like bamboo rods? No, sorry, not the bamboo ones. The ones that I don't really like those. I don't like that kind of plinky sound they make.
Yeah.
What are the ones with like, they're like almost like made of hay or something like that?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. I don't know the actual name, but I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
And he's just touching the drums and they just ring and ring.
Nice.
And all the mic pre's are like gained.
Yeah, right.
All the way. Like, it's like, if anyone had sneezed during that take, it would have been like, oh!
Slipping.
Yeah. And then we tracked the whole song like that.
Okay.
Whole song quiet.
Nice.
Until we had something we were really happy with. And this is everyone playing, and there's Hammond in the room.
So everyone's playing at the same time?
Even the vocals on that are cut live.
Oh, wow.
So in that, one of the things I love about that studio is there's a really nice sounding booth. It's not like a boxy booth. It's got a grand piano in it. It's a big booth.
Yeah.
And that looks down onto the live room.
Okay.
So Sarah is above the band,
singing
with the band. Everyone's in the room. I've got the cabinets in ISO booths, and then the Leslie for the Hammond is outside in another area. But everyone's in the room together.
Nice.
I'm a very big believer in musicians playing. I mean, and a lot of the time I will track with all the amps and stuff in the room anyway. It's just we're going for a very particular thing on this one. So we track the quietest version of this song that it's possible to do. Get it to the we think we've got something, and then we just do a completely different drum setup and go for like a really snappy kind of punchy rock sound
for the chorus. Okay.
Track the whole song again. None of this is with a click.
Oh, what? Oh my god.
No, just play the song. We've got like a starting tempo that is dun. Okay, fine. That's the tempo. Right, let's play it.
Okay.
So then we track the entire song again.
Loud.
The loud version.
Yeah.
And then just splice them together.
And then you just took like verse, chorus.
You get
verse,
to the chorus, and that's the loud version of the song, and then you cut back.
Cool.
And I think it works really well. It's got this really kind of dramatic contrast. And you really feel it kind of open up when they get. But there's no tricks. It
feels like you have like two drummers in the same room, and just one is playing the verse, the other one is playing the chorus, or like one band is playing the verse.
It's exactly that. It's just both of them are Johnny.
Yes, that's so cool. Nice.
And so that was really fun.
That
was really fun. And just I just cut it together there while we were tracking it, so we kind of go, okay, that's it, we've got it.
Wow.
But all of those, like, I mean, I think like her vocal performance on that is like,
it's phenomenal.
It's wonderful, and she captures like so much of the kind of narrative of the song. But all of that's just done with the band.
Did you come up with that trick like, let's try this, or like on the spot, or was it like?
I think we might have thought about it in pre-production.
Okay, yeah.
I generally try to think through things like that
before.
I kind of often, if I'm driving to jobs, that's when I kind of that's my little bit of thinking. Like, okay, how am I actually gonna
do this? Yeah.
Like I'm not. I don't take any job really for granted. I've been doing this a while, but I still think it's really important. There's no job that I won't drive to thinking, okay, how do I not screw this up? That's the first that's the first responsibility you have, is just to always assume that like you're an idiot, and there's a really good chance that if you don't pay attention to things, you're just going to screw it. Like if you walk in thinking you know what you're doing, you're in real trouble.
For sure. No, exactly.
We've just done this enough times that we've seen some things.
Exactly. And is there any upcoming projects that you can talk about, or stuff that you're
so there's a kind of project in development at the moment with Rex Roulette, who's a really good friend of mine and great producer, with Shay from Gorillaz, and with Ian Matthews from Kasabian.
Drummer,
and that's we've started a couple of things on that. It's a project currently called Pink Juice, and I've been a little bit slow to get started with this because I've been building a studio all summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just kind of had a session. That was the first session in this studio last week, and yeah, that looks really exciting.
That's nice.
So far, I've got a bunch of mixing stuff that I've been putting on hold while I've been building. I've got another record with Sarah coming up.
Oh, cool.
I've got a few other exciting things in the works, but yeah,
that's
priority right now is to kind of get back to all of the things that were abandoned when I did as much as I possibly could before I had to sort of spend a summer being a carpenter and thinking about resonant panel absorbers and
acoustics of the room.
Sorts of, that's been the I knew a little bit about acoustics when I started this project. I know
now we know
so much more about acoustics than I did when I started this project.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to just getting back to. It was wonderful just opening the doors and suddenly having musicians in here. And feeling like, oh God,
this is what I do.
That was the nicest, and also putting up a pair of speakers and listening to the room and discovering that all of that work had actually been a good thing.
Nice,
not some kind of misguided adventure into hell.
Of course. Can I do I do this on every interview, but you don't have to. It's like a 10 rapid fire question.
Okay, yeah.
Is it? Yeah. Top 3 albums for best drum sound.
Oh my God.
Like just
Siamese Dream. Sgt. Pepper.
Oh yeah.
Drum sound on that's killing.
It's killing, yeah.
Killing. Led Zeppelin 4.
Yes.
Led Zeppelin 4 is when the levee breaks on its own. That stands alone as just that is the art of making a record right there. That is not just the sound of a drummer playing. That is the sound of a great performance and a truly unique player playing something that is absolutely inspired, but the way it is captured, it elevates it into something completely other than just what's happening in the room. That is absolutely beautiful to me. That has a vibe that cannot be recreated. I think it's just masterful.
Sure. Favorite part of your job?
Trying things out with people.
Nice.
Like the human side of it. I love I don't have an intrinsic fascination with like gear or anything like that. It's making music. We just make people. Music. It's amazing.
With humans. Yeah. Worst part of your job?
The lack of sleep.
Okay.
That is pretty brutal.
I know.
And the lack of any kind of structured industry. It would be nice if it weren't quite the Wild West. But it is, and that's where we live now.
Yes, for sure. Sure. Piece of gear you can do without when recording drums?
Drummer. A great drummer. You got a great drummer, you can get around anything.
Wow, I love that. No one said that before. That's cool.
Oh, they should, man. That's the one.
I know. Yeah. If you can only choose one between producing a great song or mixing a great song, your favorite?
Producing.
Yeah.
That kind of creative journey for me. I love mixing, and I'm really, I never actually set out to be a mixer. And I think when I started, I was actually a terrible mixer, and I wouldn't actually mix my own stuff. I'd get other people to do it. And then it's like mixing is like learning an instrument. Producing came quite naturally to me. I speak, with musicians, and that language, that interaction between musicians is not something that is unnatural to me. Whereas mixing is like learning an instrument from scratch. And I, over the last few years, I've been in a place where people hire me as a mixer, and that's wonderful. And I love doing that work. And it's a completely different thing. Yeah. It's a little more insular, but I love going into that world and, like taking a song to that final end. I think it's great. But the creative journey of producing a record with people is
unbeatable.
There's nothing like that.
Nice. Yeah. 6, a drummer you would love to record.
Jimmy Chamberlain.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. How could? Yeah. The thing about recording greats, I've been lucky enough to work with some pretty magnificent. But Steve Gadd, I'd love to record Steve Gadd.
Oh, yeah.
Well, partly just to see if it just still, like, the thing about those guys is they make you sound amazing. Like, you don't do anything as an engineer. You turn up, you know, and someone plays and you look really clever. You're like, oh, this engineer is incredible. Yeah, sure. It's like we put up a flipping, you know, pair of 67s and did nothing. You know what I mean?
Nice. Favorite instrument to mix? I mean...
Favorite instrument to mix? Oh, drums.
Drums, yeah?
Like,
okay, yeah.
Sure.
Good. 8, who's your inspiration when it comes to recording drums? You can say a producer, an engineer, just anyone.
That's interesting. I mean, I really love a lot of what Albini did, particularly on records like Dry. Do I mean Dry? I don't mean Dry. Rid of Me. The drums on Rid of Me are bonkers sounding. They are amazing.
Oh, okay.
I like some of the stranger, darker sounds. Actually, on the subject of like Rid of Me, PJ Harvey on like there's a record she made with Flood called Is This Desire, and the drums are so simple on that. They're dry, they're very downbeat, and they just have a darkness and a vibe and a soul to them that really adds something utterly magical to the record. And when I was doing a record at Battery a couple of years ago, there's a very big, very dead booth there, and I walked into it and immediately thought, oh, this is that sound. This comes from here, which was quite exciting.
Nice.
But yeah, Chad Blake is someone who, in the mixing side of it, I think what he does with drums is absolutely just treating them like it's a toy shop and you can go crazy on it. And I've stolen loads from that. I mean, I've got a Sam's amp in the rack there.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
On so many. I mean, I use it on all sorts of drums. I also use it on... I don't use it for guitars ever, which is the thing it's designed for. But drums, vocals, bass, synthesizers, the range and different distortion colors you can get from screwing around with that thing is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I really love the way that a lot of drums sound on like Tom Waits records, where like they're highly stylized. But the stylization of them, it's not like an 80s stylization where it's just that's the trend. It's doing something that's very particular within the narrative and the emotional meaning of the song. And I'm crazy for that.
Nice. Last two, best advice you've ever received?
Don't be an arsehole.
And last one, worst advice you've ever received? Be an arsehole.
Yeah. Worst advice. Every time I've received a bad bit of advice, it's always someone saying, this is how it is. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. Or, and in my experience... This
is the standard.
Nonsense, Like, there is no way. There is no trick. There is no particular process to follow that will take you where you want to go. You do well at this stuff by trying to understand the material, by trying to understand the people that you're working with, where they're coming from, what they respond to, what makes them feel comfortable. You listen to the instrument and it will tell you how it wants to be recorded.
Nice.
Not this, well, I always use this.
What
are you talking about?
No.
You know, and every time someone tells me the way, that's the wrong. That's a bad piece of advice right there.
Do you have any? I mean, probably already answered now, but do you have any piece of advice for young musicians they want to do?
Apart from don't be an arsehole?
Yeah. Is there anything that you could recommend someone that is starting out and he wants to do exactly what you do?
I guess. I mean, the big thing is like trust yourself emotionally. Trust what you like and what speaks to you, because it's really easy for all of us, and I've learned this the hard way. I never had any mentor or any proper pathway into this, but I would have loved to have had all that stuff. I never did an assisting job at a studio. I never did any of that. I would have loved to have had a way that I was taken into the industry like that, but that's not how it was for me. And suddenly going from being a player to being an engineer and a producer, I always felt like there was that thing, like I had to do things the right way. I had to show that I could sort of do it. And you can learn a lot technically by doing that. But just be honest about what speaks to you and about what you like, and know that that's fine. And what you do won't be for everyone. You're never going to please anyone. There's no... If you could please everyone, we'd only need like 10 records. Everyone would be happy. But we all feel different things speak to us, and whatever it is, that's fine. So just trust that and go with that. And if you believe in something, just lean into that. And if the people you're working with disagree, and if they're paying you, then they're paying you. Make some corrections and make sure you're making them happy. You have to make them happy. That's the job. You need to do what they want to do. It's not your record. But if you don't believe that you are the person who does, or if there's some conflict between what you want and what they want, like, that's fine. Find a friend of yours that can work with them. And you work with someone else. Because, and I really have learnt this the hard way, every time you have that feeling in your gut, like, I don't know about this. I don't know, that doubt that you have, and you try and talk yourself into, you're trying to be a professional. I know I should do this. It's work. It will never go well.
Okay.
You need to make sure that you work with people where you're going to benefit each other. And that's a hard thing to do because money is scarce in this business, and people need to pay their rent. So I understand it's very hard to turn down things that might have money at the end of them. But there are maybe other ways around, I know people do bits of AV work. People do like little bits of audio things or musical things that are not, necessarily having to take the gigs that you shouldn't take. But trust in who you like. Who you are is who you are, and that's if you're gonna get somewhere, people are gonna hire you for you. So you have to just be you.
Nice. I think that was a perfect way to end the episode. I just like, to everyone listening, what's a good place for people to find you online? Or
I'm very bad at being sort of visible in the world like that, but if you go to my Instagram page, you will find someone who looks essentially unemployed, but I do actually check messages.
Nice.
And Instagram is I think it's Tim Bazell Productions.
I think so.
That's a really great way to get in touch with me.
Also your website, right?
I have a website that has been a placeholder for probably the last 10 years that will soon be taken down because this studio needs a name and is going to find some way of going into the world.
Where can people find you? Where is the studio? Where can people...
The studio is not launched yet. So
I see. Okay, so it's coming soon.
We need to name it. We need to figure out some way to... I mean, we've built it. That seemed like the hard bit, but now we've built it. There's this other hard bit that I can build a studio. I can make a record. How you do any of that other stuff is a flipping mystery to me. But we're gonna figure that stuff out. But Instagram is a great way to get in touch with me. I'm also on Facebook as Tim Bazell. If you type my name into any of those platforms, I'm probably the only one that comes up.
I did. So
Or you can just email me.
Perfect.
At me@timbazell.com. But there is no timbazell.com that is worth visiting.
Okay. Nice one. Tim, thank you so much for doing this, taking your time for all this time for talking all this great stuff that I'm sure like everyone is excited to hear. Like I'm gonna rewatch this because I wanna hear back exactly how you record drums and all that. So thank you so much. Thanks for inviting us in your studio.
And it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. I mean, I could ramble on about this stuff
all day. I'm the same. Nice one. Cheers, man. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.